I want to introduce you to this next guy who understands the private property issue. Number one, because he's a farmer. Number two, because he's a really big Super Bowl champion. And he's running for Congress with that same idea of private property to take the seat of Doc Hastings. It's Clint Diddier.
Thank you. Thank you very much. They told me to speak loud and into the mic so they can hear me in the back. Can you hear me in the back all right? All right. Well, first of all, here I want to just again wish Matt a happy 40th. I can remember back when I turned 40. It's been a few years ago. I just turned 55 April 4th. So Matt and I have the same month in common. We're both Aries. We're headstrong, we're Rams, and we like to butt heads with the Democrats, the establishment Republicans. But I want to thank all the veterans out here too. Because of your service, I got to live my American dream. I got to pursue the NFL. That was my dream, was to pursue that dream of playing in the NFL. One play was all I wanted to do. Just one play. And then I fooled them for 9 years. And I got in 3 Super Bowls because of the vets. I got to live my dream. And throughout my little talk here tonight, you're going to hear me reference Braveheart. How many out there remember Braveheart and have watched Braveheart? Well, in that movie, you'll remember when William was awaiting his execution the next morning, and he says, "Every man dies, but not every man lives." Matt Shea has served our country in the military forces. He served over there in Olympia, and I want him to serve as our 5th congressional down the road here, alongside Clint Diddier after I get into office. I want Matt to be the guy serving with me back in D.C. You know, we look at this state, we look at Inslee, and we look at what's going on in our state. And honestly, you know, as much research as I've done about the United Nations, I say get the UN out of the United States and the United States out of the UN, because this is nothing but bad news. Inslee's all into this global warming, which they now call climate change. It's an easier term. In my prayers that I'm saying all winter long, I'm asking the Lord, just keep that East Coast cool. Keep the snow a-dropping on that East Coast, because I want those people, if they're that naive as to believe that we can control the environment, then they'll be begging us to burn that fossil fuel to warm the globe back up. Maybe we'll start drilling and build some refineries. If they think we can warm it back up by burning it, then they'll be begging for it. And it has been dumping on them back there. But we've also got Common Core. And we've got the Department of Ecology in our own state, who has sworn to Earth's Charter. Earth Charter, where they say that Mother Earth is a living, breathing organism. I'm wondering where the separation is between church and state here. When you worship something, you are worshiping a God. So where is the separation between church and state? Matt is, and Matt will continue to fight against this within our state. And that's why another quote out of Braveheart. When William Wallace was just captured, and Robert the Bruce went up to face his dad who has leprosy, and he grabbed his dad and he threw him against the wall, and he says, "You deceived me, father." And he says, "I did not. In your heart you knew what was right. In our hearts we know what's right. And that is for we, the people of this state and this country, to remain a sovereign nation. A people that are strong-willed, that are determined. We're winners. We will never, ever fall in line to a one-world government, even though they're trying to push us that way." And remember what Obama said. "I did not need Congress's approval to attack Libya. I was mandated by the UN." And then Uncle Joe Biden, when he says, "The American people have got to be more accepting of the one-world governance." Ladies and gentlemen, they're setting us up to bankrupt this country so it's an easier sell for us to fall into a one-world government. No way. No way in hell are we ever going to go to a one-world government. We will persevere. And before I go any further, I want to recognize a man of 93 years old, sharp as a tack, served in World War II, the greatest generation. Dean Ladd, Lieutenant Colonel Dean Ladd, please stand to be recognized. Thank you, sir, for your service. And here we are the day before Easter. He lives, ladies and gentlemen, he lives. Because God knew that we weren't strong enough to get there on our own, that we needed help. And so God sent his only Son for us so that we may be saved. Glory be to God. So just a few days ago, I got the endorsement of Freedom Works, one of the strongest conservative constitutional groups in America. And they said it was a no-brainer. They looked at the other candidates, they went through their websites, they said it's a no-brainer. So here's my 5-minute spill that I've been given around the state as I go around, and then this will be my conclusion. We the people. We the people. The first 3 words of the most powerful document in all of mankind, except the Bible. This is our country. We just got to have the courage and the fortitude to take it back. Charlton Heston stated, "The American dream is not success or riches, it's freedom." Freedom. In the Diddier campaign, we have a very simple equation. More government equals less freedom. Less government equals more freedom. You're being told today that if we can just elect a Republican Congress and a Republican President, we can take back our country. Let me remind you of 2010, when we had a Republican Congress and a Republican President, and we spent more money than ever before in the history of America. We ran our national debt up to the highest it's ever been. We got the Patriot Act that went into Department of Homeland Security, NSA, and a lot of other agencies claiming to be there to protect us. Yes. If I was playing in a Super Bowl right now, the Redskins would have been called for piling on. I mean, this is exactly what's going on. I mean, when we got a hold of this reins, all we did was just expand government. That's not the way it's supposed to go. Does anybody here really think in their lifetime they will ever see the Patriot Act rescinded? I know it won't happen.
Absolutely.
Well, I hope so, but we better change a lot of people. Remember what Benjamin Franklin said. He who will trade liberty for security deserves neither. That's why it's critical this time, when the pendulum is swinging back to the Republican Party, that we make absolutely sure that we keep constitutional conservatives and we elect constitutional conservatives to the House and to the presidency. Because honestly, and you make sure they're candidates that'll make a pledge. Now, I haven't asked Matt about this pledge, but this is the pledge that I've made, and it's going national. No new taxes. No increase in existing taxes. Anything that grows the size of the federal government, regardless of party, I will vote against, so help me God. You see, that's really the only way back out of this mess. Some are going to tell you that's unrealistic. So when you hear that, you ask them, is what we're getting today realistic? Ladies and gentlemen, the size and scope of the federal government is the greatest threat to the American dream that Charlton Heston spoke of. And if we don't rein in the size of this government, then we're done as a country. And everything that we're doing today is academic. One of the primary abuses and grievances our founders listed against the King of England in the second half of the Declaration of Independence was this: he has erected a multitude of new offices and sent out his hither swarm of officers to harass our people and to eat out their substance. This is a great example of what is going on today in America. It's exactly what's happening. Our founders would have rolled over in their graves if they would have seen how many agencies we have, the regulations that we have, and the amount of money that is costing we the people. They would have rolled over in their graves if they would have seen the entangling alliances we have with that United Nations, bringing home all this regulation from them. Now is the time. Now is the time to realign with the Constitution of this greatest country ever on earth, the United States of America, and to reestablish the rule of law, the supreme law of the land that gives us, America, our sovereignty. Now is the time to realign with the Bill of Rights, especially the Second Amendment, the right that gives we the people to defend the other 9. I'll be damned if I allow our children, our grandchildren, and every generation to come to be sacrificed at the altar of big government and socialism. Let us stand together, we the people, shoulder to shoulder, and fight our way back to the light, to the truth, to our Constitution, and to the Lord God Almighty. And let us reaffirm that individual liberty is our highest political value. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a second-generation farmer 8 miles out of Pasco. Every spring I plant seeds to grow food for America. If I get elected, and I say if you will elect me, but you don't get to vote for me, I'm in the 4th. If I get elected, when I get elected, think positively, Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. When I get elected, I'm going to go back to D.C. and I'm going to plant some new seeds. Seeds of freedom. Freedom. Again, I want to thank Matt for having me up here tonight. What an honor to be in a room with a lot of like-minded Americans that love our country, our freedom, our sovereignty, and we want to pass it on to the next generation. I'm not a lot of bark. Well, maybe I got a lot of bark, but I got some bite too. I want you to know, I'm not up here just popping off. I've wrote Matt Shea a maxed out check for his campaign. I encourage you to do the same. We have to have Matt Shea back over there. Matt Shea, Dave Taylor, Jason Overstreet, Jeff Hawley. These aren't politicians, folks. These are citizen statesmen. They're going to serve and then they're going to get back to their way of life. Thank you, and God bless America by Americans blessing God. Thank you.